Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy CJ Beasley here, back again. Today we have our first ever battle video of the ICBA. If you guys are excited for that, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, because this is going to be a great battle. I can feel it already. So week one we are taking on Johnny GB. If you guys haven't checked him out, definitely go check him out. You guys are probably coming from his side anyways, but like I said, if you guys haven't checked him out, definitely go check him out. He's a great battler. I've watched his content before I was even a part of this league, so he'll be linked down in the description below. Definitely go check him out, as will all the other coaches. So go check out all those other guys' battles. Highly recommend it. But anyways, really excited to be a part of this league. Like I believe I said that in the team builder, but just super excited to be part of all the big boys. So let's see what we can do this first week. So looking at his team. His team consists of Necrozma Dawnwings, Mega Diancie, Haxorus, Rotom Wash, Incineroar, Porygon 2, Roserade, Cryogonal, Golisopod, Registeel, and Kecleon. So right off the bat, I totally noticed that his team is pretty slow. The fastest thing on his team is 110, which is a Mega Diancie, and I have 3 Mons. Right, 3 Mons, yeah, 3 Mons that are above that speed tier, being the Zygarde, Darkrai, and Mega Aerodactyl. So that's definitely something to notice. Other things I noticed is he doesn't have the best hazard setters. I believe Necrozma gets Stealth Rocks, Registeel gets Stealth Rocks, and Mega Diancie gets Stealth Rocks. But besides that, not really the best options, and not the best removal options either. His removal options being either the Rotom or the Cryogonal, so not the best options in the world. So definitely gonna have to keep that in the back of my head as I go along with this team. But anyways, enough talk. Let's just hop right into things. So the first set we have is Bryce Harper. I actually named all these Mons after Phillies players, current Phillies players, so I thought that was pretty funny. But first up, we got Bryce Harper, the Zygarde 10%. With the Choice Band or Aurora Break, obviously, because it can't be Power Construct. With 1,000 arrows, superpower, crunch, and extreme speed. With 4 HP, max attack, 4 defense, 28 speed, or excuse me, 28 special defense, and 220 speed with a jolly nature. This outspeeds his entire team outside of Choice Scarfers, obviously. And just kind of spamming 1,000 arrows really puts a dent into his team. The only thing that really wants to take 1,000 arrows on his team is going to be stuff like the Golisopod, but after a certain point, you know, it can't really switch in with the emergency exit, so and it doesn't have any recovery except for like leech life, I think. So just being able to spam 1,000 arrows is really nice against his team. Superpowers there because 2 superpowers can KO most Porygon 2s. Like I guess it's a 2-hit KO, but 2 superpowers will almost always KO Porygon 2. And that's pretty much his best switch in besides the Golisopod to this thing. Crunch is there just to hit the Necrozma Dawnwings just super effectively, and the extreme speed's there just basically for priority, just to hit things hard with priority, potentially cleaning up the game just depending on the situation. But this set really just kind of breaks apart his team, so I'm really excited to use this. And next up we got a Nap, the Garbodor, with the Black Sludge, Aftermath with the Gunk Shot, Toxic, Pain Split, and Spikes. With max HP, 20 defense, and 236 special defense with a Careful Nature. This is my primary check to things like the Rotom and the Roserade, as I don't really handle those things at all. My best switch into the Rotom is going to be the Florges, but you'll see a little bit later that I kind of need Florges to stay at a nice amount of HP. And the Roserade, I physically have one switch in besides Garbodor, and it's going to be the Victini, but it's not really a bulky Victini, so he doesn't really take Sludge Bombs, especially from a Life Orb set, very well. So I decided to throw Garbodor on here, week 1, bringing Garbodor, so really excited to use this. Black Sludge, obviously, there, basically just acting as leftovers. Gunk Shot, Toxic basically hits his entire team. The only thing that wants to take Gunk Shots is obviously like the basically the Registeel. That's pretty much it. That's really the only thing that wants to take Gunk Shots. And if it or I guess even the Necrozma wants to take a Gunk Shot, but I can Toxic that thing if I'm predicting the switch in or whatever. Pain Split's obviously there for the longevity and also just wearing down his team, with Toxic plus Pain Split's basically wearing down most of his team, which is super nice. And spikes are obviously there. As I mentioned, he doesn't really have the best hazard removal, so spikes are really nice in this matchup. But besides that, this is basically, like I said, just my main switch into stuff like the Rotom and the Roserade, his big specially offensive threats. Next up, we got Andrew McCutcheon, the Victini, with the Sugarberry, Victory Star, obviously, with the Blue Flare, Focus Blast, Energy Ball, and Glaciate, with 244 special attack, 28 special defense, and 236 speed with a Timid Nature. This outspeeds his Haxorus, and so basically, this was supposed to be Blue Flare, Focus Blast, Energy Ball substitute with, I think I had Expert Belt on this originally. But I just kind of noticed over time that, you know, my team was just kind of weak to the Haxorus, especially if it's set up. So the plan with these Victini is basically I can take a Ground EMZ Earthquake from a +1 Haxorus and Glaciate, basically making it slower than my Victini and being able to Glaciate twice, because Glaciate is a 2-hit KO on most Haxorus unless they're super bulky. So I can Glaciate twice and KO that thing while living any attack, unless if he goes for the Outrage. But if he goes for the Outrage and if I still have my Florges around, then Florges can handle the Haxorus pretty easily. I went with the special set this week, obviously with the Glaciate, as well as the Focus Blast to hit the Incineroar, and the Registeel. Well, I guess Blue Flare hits the Registeel, but mostly the Incineroar and the Kecleon, and Energy Ball hitting the Rotom for decent damage, so I thought that was pretty nice. And then obviously Blue Flare is kind of spammable against his team. Even his water type, Golisopod doesn't really want to take Blue Flares, so that's super nice. But besides that, like I said, it's basically my kind of my check, or I guess my counter to the Haxorus, as well as just kind of being offensively threatening to his entire team. Next up, we got Reese Hoskins with the Fightinium Z Bad Dreams with the Dark Pulse, Focus Blast, Hidden Power Steel, and Nasty Plot with 116 HP, max special attack, and 140 speed with a Timid Nature. The idea behind this is basically a late game sweeper. I originally had the Protect over this Hidden Power Steel, basically for Golisopod's first impressions. But I was kind of, in just in the mocks, I was missing too many Focus Blasts on the Diancies, and they would just KO me. So I decided to throw on Hidden Power Steel instead, and just kind of wait to sweep with this thing until the Golisopod's gone. That's kind of the idea going into this. So, but besides that, Dark Pulse plus Focus Blast pretty much rips apart his entire team. And Nasty Plot's obviously there for the setup, as this does outspeed his entire team that's not Scarfer. So that is pretty nice, and like he doesn't really have any good Scarfers anyways on his team, honestly. So this can honestly put in a ton of work once the Golisopod's gone. So I'm really excited to use this. Next up, we got the Arenola, the Milotic, with the Flame Orb, Marble Scale, Scald, Ice Beam, Recover, and Dragon Tail with 252 HP, 220 defense, and 36 special defense with a Calm Nature. This is my primary check to the Golisopod as well as the Mega Diancie. It can basically 1v1 both those things. Scald plus Ice Beam is pretty much ripping apart his entire team. And if I get spikes up, I can kind of just spam Dragon Tail and just phase out things, like the Roserade or the Rotom or whatever it might be, and just kind of get spikes chip. And obviously the recovery is there for the longevity, but mostly this is there to 1v1 stuff like the Mega Diancie and the Golisopod. And just kind of scouting out the item, as this does take, this can take, I believe it was a Banded, it's Banded First Impression is a 3-hit KO, I believe was a calc, and a Moonblast from a max special attack Mega Diancie is also a 3-hit KO, so basically 1v1 those things as long as I play properly. So that's super nice. And finally, we have Jake Arrieta, the Florges, with the Leftovers, Flower Veil, Moonblast, Defog, Synthesis, and Toxic with 244 HP, 212 defense, 20 special attack, 4 special defense, and 28 speed with a Bold Nature. So this thing's primary objective is to basically either wear down or 1v1 the Necrozma. Anything this that the Necrozma wants to go for. I don't know if it gets any physical steel type attacks or if you'd even be teching them. But basically, a Moon Geist Beam is a 3-hit KO, a Psyshock is a 3-hit KO, Photon Geyser is a 3-hit KO. So I can basically Toxic that thing and Synthesis spam until that thing goes down. Defog's obviously there for the just getting rid of the hazards, and Moonblast is there just obviously for an attacking move. This does get walled by the Registeel, but I honestly don't see Registeel coming, as I do have a lot of threats against it, so I don't really see it coming, but you know, it might come. But we'll just have to work around that because this and my Garbodor both get walled by it, so we're definitely going to have to be careful about that. But the idea behind this, like I said, is to 1v1 the Ultra Necrozma, or not Ultra Necrozma, but the Necrozma Dawn Wings, unless if he is a Calm Mindset. So if he's a Calm Mindset, I basically have to Toxic that thing. I can live one of whatever he wants to go for, Toxic it, and basically get it worn down enough so a Dark Pulse or a Crunch from the Zygarde can basically KO it. So that's kind of the game plan going in there. I really hope he's not Calm Mindset. I really expect him to be Trick Room set, honestly, because my team's way faster than his. So I do kind of expect a Trick Room set, honestly, and it kind of helps out the rest of his team. But this can honestly just sit in front of his team as a Trick Room set. And he doesn't really have the best answer to this outside of like maybe the Roserade or the Registeel. So anyways, guys, I'm really excited to get into this matchup. I feel like we have a really good team matchup, just prep-wise, but we'll have to see. So anyways, guys, I will see you guys in a second with the battle. Alright, guys, so we're back. So look at the team he brought. He brought the Golisopod, Roserade, Necrozma Dawn Wings, the Registeel, Kecleon, and the Rotom Wash. So really surprised to see the Registeel and the Kecleon here. But it also means that the Mega Diancie, Incineroar, and the Porygon 2 aren't here. So that's absolutely amazing. In terms of just leads, I really expected him to lead something like the Registeel or the Rotom, or maybe even the Roserade. So I decided to lead my Zygarde, as it really matches up against pretty much his entire team outside of the Golisopod lead very well. So and even if he leads a Golisopod, I can always go onto my Lodix, so it's not too big of a deal. But good luck to my opponent. Definitely go check him out. Like I said, his link will be down in the description. But so we're gonna lead the Zygarde here, and he does unfortunately lead the Golisopod, which kind of sucks for me. But you know, I can easily go out into my my Lodix with no problems at all. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'm just going to go hard into my Melodic, just kind of scout out what he wants to do, if he wants to go for Liquidation or First Impression or whatever. But he does go for the First Impression. And based off of this damage we're going to see right here, it does below half. And just based off of that damage, we learned that he is actually Muscle Band, which is super surprising. I mean, it's not a bad item at all. But here we're just going to go for the Recover. And just kind of get our HP back, as we want to try to be as full as possible. And best case scenario, there he actually goes into his Roserade, because I can freely go on to my Garbodor and just set up some spikes. So I kind of wanted him to go out into the Roserade there, but like I said, I'm going to go out into my Gardevoir at this point, as he does just show the Leech Seed, which is not a problem at all. I can easily just spam Pain Split once I get low enough and just kind of wear down this Roserade, so it's not too big of a deal at all. It does get a little bit of chip on me, which is kind of unfortunate, but here I will just set up the free spike, as nothing can really stop it at this point, as he just does go out into his Registeel. So at this point I could have set up another layer of spikes, and I was kind of tempted to, but I also didn't want him to get free to get up a free Stealth Rock, so I decided to switch out here, go out into my Victini, I believe at this point. Yeah, I go on to my Victini. Victini is pretty expendable at this point. And so here I was kind of deciding, or I guess debating what he would go out into. And I kind of make the middle ground play of going for Focus Blast. Just kind of wanting to scout out how much this will even do to Registeel. And it does about 35%, 40-ish%, as he does go for the Thunder Wave. So I guess he was kind of meant to counter this Victini. And based off of not seeing an item, I kind of suspect that he's Occa Berry, which is pretty annoying. But I believe I just go for the blue flare here at this point. I don't know if I get fully paralyzed or not. I go for the energy ball. So I go for the energy ball. It does a little bit of damage, brings the charisma down to about 75%. As I will switch out this Victini at this point and just go out into my Florges, as I know I have a free switch into that. And so here he will just go for the Trick Room. And so after a round of leftovers, I know I can freely just toxic this thing and just kind of pray he's not gonna set up some Calm Minds. So that's what I will go for. As he just does show the Photon Geyser, so not a big problem at all. It does practically nothing. Yeah, it does about 30-40%. But I get a free Toxic off, and next turn I can easily just Synthesis back up and just kind of Synthesis spam until this thing is worn down all the way. And even if he has a Moonlight, I will eventually wear this thing down. So that's super nice. So here he's going to take some toxic damage, be down to about 2/3 HP, as he does switch out into his Registeel. As I do believe I clicked Synthesis at this point. Yeah, I clicked the Synthesis. So he's down about half, and I can easily at this point. I don't want to go hard into my my Victini at this point, so I just go hard into my Melodic. I'm just kind of scouting if what kind of set he is. Also, I didn't want to get Toxic or Thunderwaved, so I just go on to this, as he does go for the Explosion. So, I mean, that's not going to do basically anything. But, I mean, it does a decent chunk. It does about 20-30%, but I can easily recover that damage back up. But he does have the Switch Initiative, even though he does lose his Registeel. It wasn't doing much after he got a Brox anyways, so. But here he does go out into his Rotom. And I know I can easily recover, as we are still in Trick Room, and so I will get the recovery before he goes for an electric type move. So he goes for the Volt Switch. I didn't want to give him Switch Initiative if I switch it out, so I just decided to recover back up, try to get as much HP back as possible. As he does go on to his Roserade. And like I said earlier, I have a free switch into the Garbodor every time, so I'm not too afraid of this thing. I believe Trick Room does expire here. Yep. So I will go on to the Garbodor, like I said. The only thing he could really touch me with, realistically, is Hidden Power Ground. So not too worried about that. But I will go on to my Garbodor, take some Stealth Rocks, as he does go for the Leech Seed yet again. And at this point, nothing's immune to the Gunk Shot. But I believe I don't remember if I go. I think I go straight for a Gunk Shot here. We'll have to see. But he will get some Leech Seed recovery, bringing me down to about, I don't know, 65%. So he does show the Hidden Power Fire, I believe, and we do go for Gunk Shot, and we do miss, unfortunately. But it's not that big of a deal, because we know he's Hidden Power Fire, I believe, at this point, is what I'm assuming. And so we can easily live one more of those and go for the Pain Split. And even if he switches out, something's getting Pain Split down. So he does go on to his Golisopod, which is kind of surprising, honestly. As I will just go for the Pain Split. Get a lot of my HP back, and it will bring him down to about 67%, and I will be back up at 67% as well, but he will get my Leech Seed recovery, so I will be down to about 60 and he'll be back up to about 75%. But at this point, I don't really need the Victini for anything, so I decided to sack it here. And it takes some Stealth Rocks, and I'm honestly just trying to sack it, but he actually doubles out. It goes to the Roserade. So I don't know what he was expecting. I guess he was expecting the Milotic. But, you know, I'm just trying to sack my Victini at this point. So either way, though, I will just go for the Blue Flare, I believe. Or I go for the Energy Ball. I don't remember. I should go for the Energy Ball. Or I might get fully paralyzed, actually. I don't remember. No, go for the Blue Flare. I should have gone for the Energy Ball. Oh, well. I guess I go for the Blue Flare because if his Roserade stays in and tries to Sludge Bomb me, I guess... nice damage off on that, I guess it was the mindset. But either way, I'm honestly just trying to sack this Victini. But he's not killing it, so he does go for the Volt Switch. I believe I just go for the Energy Ball here at this point. And so he will take some Spikes damage, and I actually get fully paralyzed. And so here the knockoff is super obvious. So I do actually just go out into the Darkrai here. As I know, even if he's an Assault Vest variant, unless if he's like super especially bulky, I could always KO it with the Z Focus Blast. So here he goes for knockoff. It obviously does nothing. Shows I'm a Z move. And I was kind of considering that he might go for Shadow Sneak. But I thought it would be worth it even if he did, just to click the Z Focus Blast, because next turn I can just click the Dark Pulse and just deal like stab damage. So I didn't really see the drawback to this play. So I will go for the Z Focus Blast, beat up this Kecleon. And like I said, unless if he's like super specially bulky, he won't live it. But he is super specially bulky, unfortunately. He does live on a sliver, and he does go for the Drain Punch. Recovers all that HP back, which is super unfortunate for me, as it will KO my Darkrai. Darkrai is 0 for 1 at this point in the season, which is super unfortunate, like I said, because I kind of want Darkrai to put in work just in the season. So it's kind of sucks to see that happen. But I know I can easily go out into my Zygarde at this point. His only switch in is going to be the Golisopod, but even if he tries to switch it in, the emergency exit will force him out anyways, as he does just show the Sucker Punch, and I just go for the 1,000 arrows. 1,000 arrows is just going to be doing a big chunk, and I expected the Sucker Punch, but it only did about 50%, as you can see there, so I wasn't too worried about it. So down goes the Kecleon. So we're up 5-4 at this point, honestly looking really good. Most things are worn down, so my Zygarde can like put in work late game. So that's super nice. But here I'm just going to try to sack my Victini yet again, as I just want to free switch into my, I believe I want to free switch into my Milotic, if I remember correctly is what I was trying to go for. But yet again, he doubles out into his Roserade, just expecting the Milotic to come in. I guess he just feels like he's behind, so he needs to catch up. And so I will just go for the Blue Flare, as he most likely kills me, and he does. So good play on his part just to go for the KO. But at this point, I get a free switch back into my my Garbodor, and I can just set up another layer of spikes or go for a Gunk Shot or whatever I need to, or even a Pain Split. So I will take some Rocks damage, and I believe I just go for the Pain Split at this point, as he does just go for the Hidden Power. It doesn't KO me, and I just go for the Pain Split, get a bunch of HP back. Brings me just above half, and after Black Sludge it will bring me even higher, so that's super nice. And so here I know I can take 2 Hidden Powers and go for the Gunk Shot, so that's exactly what I'm going to do, as he does go out into his Rotom actually. Alright, oh no, I'll go for Layer Spikes, because I knew I could go for Layer Spikes and then Pain Split, so that was actually the play that I went for. Because I really wanted to keep this that Roserade healthy as possible, honestly, just so I could get the most amount of HP back from the Pain Split. But he does just go for the Hydro Pump here. I'm not worried about this thing at all, as it barely does anything with the Hydro Pump, as I can throw off a Toxic, poison this thing, and I can always take another Hydro Pump and just Pain Split off the damage. So we do see his leftovers. I don't believe I said that, but we do see his leftovers at this point, and he will be taking toxic damage, as I will be getting residual recovery. So that's super nice. And at this point, I'm just gonna go for the Pain Split, as he does just go for the Hydro Pump yet again. And so I do live on just a sliver on 8 HP, but I knew I could anyway, so I wasn't too afraid of that. And at this point, I can take yet another Hydro Pump, Pain Split up, or go for the Gunk Shot or whatever. And at this point, after this toxic damage, I see that he's kind of just out of range of Gunk Shot, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Or maybe Gunk Shot plus Poison. Yeah, okay, so the idea was Gunk Shot plus Poison was going to KO this Rotom. So that's why I went for the Gunk Shot there instead of going for the Pain Split yet again, as there wasn't really a reason to keep going for Pain Split. So, he doesn't KO me with the Hydro Pump. I go for the Gunk Shot, I land it, and this Garbodor picks up the KO with the toxic damage. So Garbodor putting in all the work I expected to. You know, it's Garbodor, but I'm really excited, like really happy to see it put in like any amount of work. So that's really awesome. But I'm just gonna go for the Pain Split at this point. Just try to chip down this thing as much as possible. I could have gone for a 3rd layer of spikes, but I didn't really need it. And so he goes for the Photon Geyser, KOs me. And so one of the reasons I went for the 2nd layer of spikes, not only just so I could keep the Roserade as healthy as possible, so I could keep Pain Splitting, but as well as after a 2nd layer of spikes, it guarantees to proc the emergency exit on the Golisopod. So it's really not even like a switch in. So I will just go for the 1,000 arrows here. KO this Necrozma. It's absolutely never going to live that. Unless if it's, I don't even think if it's super bulky, it would live that. He does go on the Glissopod, which is absolutely fantastic because at this point I really have him on the ropes because this will proc the emergency exit and he will be forced out into the Roserade, and I can just freely click 1,000 arrows because 2,000 arrows will KO the Glissopod, and 1,000 arrows obviously KOs the Roserade. So yeah, I'm just gonna click the 1,000 arrows at this point. He doesn't really have a play around that. And I will KO this Roserade. It does, fun fact for you, unless if he's like crazy bulky, it does about, unless if he's crazy bulky, it does about 80 to 100%. So, at this point, he has to go into his Glissopod. This is only a mon left. And I decided to preserve differential as I could always go on to my, my Florges and take 2 of whatever he wants to go for and KO him with the Moonblast from this range. So he does just go for the first impression. And unless it be super fast, he won't outspeed me, and I can easily just click Moonblast and clinch this game. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just going to click the Moonblast here. I do outspeed him. I do KO him. So great game to my opponent, Johnny. We do pick up this one 3-0. We do get the crit, but it honestly didn't matter. But like I said, we pick up this KO, or this win 3-0. So I'm really excited how, just so far, how the season's been going. Or I guess this is the only first game, but you know, it really gets you pumped up just getting your first win out of the season, especially against someone that you've been watching for so long. So great game to my opponent, Johnny. Like I said, his link will be down in the description. Definitely go check out his side of the battle. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.